I'm Mariana Cordier. Welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. The Augustine Report was recently released, and the Montgomery Chamber of Commerce for Montgomery County studied its conclusions. Ilaya Hopkins of the Chamber will review it for us. Purple Line Now is sponsoring forums for the community to bring the public the most recent news concerning all aspects of the new route. Ralph Bennett, the president of the organization, has the details. Montgomery County Public Schools will have a new superintendent, Dr. Jack Smith, July 1st. Our commentator, Fred Evans, has a list of suggestions to make his term successful. The Tacoma Park campus of Montgomery College had begun an exciting new focus in the humanities. We will hear from the provost of the campus, Brad Stewart, about what's happening. Welcome.
Thank
I find it really exciting that this Augustine Report that the Chamber is interested in and is lobbying for, the details of improving our taxes, improving for corporate, businesses here in Montgomery County. Can you tell us more about it?
I'd be happy to. Thanks for having me. It's broadly known as the Augustine Commission. The formal name is the Maryland Economic Development and Business Climate Commission. It was established a couple of years by the leadership in the General Assembly, Senator Mike Miller and Speaker Mike Bush. And it's chaired by Norm Augustine, formerly of Lockheed Martin, and a group of commissioners. Dr. Pollard is on the commission, who've really taken a thorough look at what makes Maryland a great place to do business, but where we could be even better and more competitive.
And this is for small businesses as well as large businesses.
Any business operating in Maryland. We have a really diverse array of businesses, government contractors, hospitality, all kinds of environmental design firms. So any business would be affected by both the regulations and the reforms suggested in phase 1 of the report and the phase 2 that just came out this year, focusing more on tax structure.
And this is really about making Montgomery County competitive, isn't it?
Well, Maryland. These are recommendations for throughout the state, and kids in school learn that Maryland is America in miniature, and that really is true. You've got industrial companies out in the west, you've got tourism on the eastern shore. In Montgomery County, we have the biosciences and cybersecurity, so it's a little bit of everything. And the 14 recommendations that were in the phase 2 report around tax structure try to address different segments of that business population.
So what does the Chamber specifically focus on or is really advocating that's in the report?
We have established our own Business Environment Council, and we actually have provided input into the Augustine Commission throughout the process. Ours is also a balanced approach where we understand that it's important to have corporations here and corporate headquarters.
And there's a website, correct?
Yeah, all of this information is on our website at MCCC.
And I believe what was it?
MCCCMD.com.
And I believe it's on the screen for the viewers.
Good.
So what will small business people get out of this?
Well, yeah, actually, 90% of business in Maryland is small business, and they are incorporated in a different way. They're not corporations, they are pass-through entities.
Yep.
And in Maryland, and with our local taxes on top of it, they're taxed at actually a higher rate than corporations. In Montgomery County, it's 8.9%, I believe. So one of the recommendations was to lessen that cost so that businesses would have more capital to invest back in the business.
Hire new
people? Hire more people, buy new equipment, all kinds of things. That one method of doing that is a pass-through, a subtraction modification, and that was one of the recommendations that turned into proposed legislation. It did not make it through the 2016 General Assembly that's currently underway, but it's something that our chamber has advocated for many years and will continue to pursue because it brings real relief to small businesses.
But what about the, quote, tax money that I'll lose if you reduce the taxes to provide services in the county? Where's the balancing act there?
Well, that's a great point because this commission, to their credit, really deliberated on that point thoroughly. And one of their recommendations was to address what we all know is the income inequality and the challenge that low-income earners have in living in a high-cost area. So one of the recommendations was an expansion of the earned income tax credit, which most economists will say is the most effective policy tool in supporting low-income earners. And that is a piece of legislation that seems to be making its way through.
So that'll help everybody, not just business owners.
Well, that helps the low-income earners.
Okay.
The idea is it does help the overall economy, because when those individuals have more money in their pockets, because they get a credit from the federal, state, and in Montgomery County, local tax burdens, they will be spending it on clothes and food and other things in the local economy.
How does this play into the national conversation and the regional conversation about competition between jurisdictions and between the United States and other countries?
Yeah, that too is a good point, because Maryland is a small state surrounded by others, Pennsylvania, Virginia in particular. We have to be mindful of what businesses are being offered in those other jurisdictions, because in today's world, if you've got a high-tech company, you can do that from pretty much anywhere you want to be. And there's a lot of advantage to having companies be here in Maryland. They employ our residents, they contribute to college scholarships and other local things, and they grow the tax base. So that is one of the reasons to stand up this commission, and one of the issues that they've tried to address is how we are related to Virginia and other
They haven't gone too
surrounding
far, have
jurisdictions.
they? I'd hate to end up like Kansas.
No, this is a very modest approach,
Okay.
I would say, and again, through the recommendations and the pieces of legislation that were proposed, even the piece of legislation that was a pass-through subtraction modification only was going to be a couple $1,000s of
Okay.
tax relief. There are what are called fiscal notes on all of these, so you can see how much they would all be together. And cumulative impact matters, whether it's regulations on businesses or when you're looking at cutting taxes. And I think everybody agrees that we have a great quality of life, we want to continue to have it, and we don't want to cut into the services, but we need some tax relief across the board.
How's this effort
That's
being
great.
received?
Well, we ran out of time. I think it's something that maybe we should keep talking about.
Sure,
in future shows.
anytime.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So the Purple Line, it's been around for a long time, correct?
It's an idea that's been here as long as the freight rail line between Silver Spring and Bethesda has existed, and the county bought it specifically to install light rail.
Okay, so it has arrived. We're about to have the
It
work
is here. A
begin.
concessionaire has been selected by a team which included both the counties and the state, and the concessionaire has been nominated, has agreed to sign a contract which is some 875 pages long. That contract's being reviewed by the Board of Public Works and at a public event on the 6th of April. We assume that it will be approved. Then it will go to a financial closing, which is like closing on your house. And then the federal government has to take another look. It's a highly ranked project with the Federal Transit Administration, but they have to look at it again and give their approvals again.
And this is not the Metro.
This is absolutely not Metro.
This is
It
something
will
separate and
connect
apart.
with Metro in 4 locations. If this is Metro in suburban Maryland, this is the Purple Line. It connects them. It also connects Mark. It gives redundancy to the system and will help with the problems we had last week.
And there's a website for the Purple Line, correct?
Purple Line Now's website is www.purplelinenow.com, and we will be having a series of forums, as you know. One has already been held in College Park, which was organized basically to put a megaphone to the project, since during the review process, none of the jurisdictions were interested in talking very loudly because they were debating the 4 proposers. 4 amazing consortia of firms, including contractors and financial agencies, who made proposals and stuck through some periods of high uncertainty about the project, submitted their proposals, and one of them was selected.
That's awesome. So when is the next forum? Because anyone can go to these forums, correct?
Absolutely. The next forum is on the 21st of April. I have 2 of my illustrious board members here, Brad Stewart and Ilaya Hopkins. Brad is the host of the next forum, which will be on the 21st of April at Montgomery College, starting at 6 in the evening.
Which campus?
Featured at the Silver Spring
Como Park,
campus.
Silver Spring.
Okay.
He owns Silver Spring.
And this is something that's really near and dear to your heart, because you straddle the 2 counties, Prince George's County and Montgomery County.
I have worked a career at the University of Maryland, and I live in Montgomery County.
So you really see every day when you commuted the need for this Purple Line.
There's no question about it. But of course, others, everyone who lives here understands the difficulty. This will give alternatives. It may not relieve all the traffic because the bias in favor of automobile traffic is enormous in this country. But it will give a choice to others to find another way to get from Bethesda to New Carrollton.
One of the unique things about this project is it's a public-private partnership, and we heard a little bit about that in the concessionaires, and the event in April, the forum in April, will go further in depth, but it is one of the nation's largest public-private partnerships, and it is exciting to see it happening right here in Maryland.
What will, I don't think Joe or Jane Citizen knows much when they hear Purple Line. So it's a 16-mile stretch
16 miles with
between
21 stops.
Bethesda,
Silver Spring, College Park, and New Carrollton, and stops in between.
and if in the ideal situation, how long will it take to put it together?
Current projections are just short of an hour to go from one end to the other.
No, I mean build it.
Build it, 6 years, starting this fall.
Okay.
And it'll open its full length in 2022.
One of the cool things about this is it really isn't about a ride from New Carrollton to Bethesda.
No.
It's about a ride from one part of the line to the other. For example, for my students, it's from Silver Spring to College Park, because that's our #1 transfer destination for our students, and it'll make it really easy. They'll walk 3 or 4 blocks up the street from my campus, hop on the Purple Line, and they'll be in their classroom over at College Park in a half an hour.
And
And of course, within the University of Maryland, there are 4 stops, and they will be connected by the Purple Line. The university has started plans to expand its campus on the east side of Route 1, and the Purple Line will constitute a free shuttle for
That's
students,
great.
faculty, and staff to communicate within the campus. So it has many other functions. It's not, as Brad
Hopefully it'll
says.
bring down also the traffic that is on 495 and 270 to get from Montgomery County to.
well, we'll
We
see.
think it'll be a clear choice between sitting in traffic.
Okay,
and
so we
not.
have about a minute left. What is the absolute last thought you want to leave with our audience about the Purple Line?
This has been a long project to get to this point, and it's going to be a long and painful process to get it constructed. People need to be prepared for disruption. If you drive around this spring, the road closures are a sort of introduction to what's going to happen. The sequence of construction has not been selected yet, although it will likely start in Prince George's County as part of an agreement with Prince George's County. Remember that each of the counties have contributed up to $100 million apiece to aspects of the project. Prince George's County exacted an initial start on the line there, and it'll probably be done in stages, but we don't know for sure. There are a lot of details that are not clear yet, and we need to be vigilant about them and keep an eye on them, and we invite people to join Purple Line now to help us do that.
And that's the last word on the Purple Line. Thank you so much. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. Welcome back, Fred Barnes. Usually I'm
Barnes.
sitting in your
Fred
seat.
Evans.
I'm usually sitting in your seat, and you're sitting in mine. So what's going on?
Well, Montgomery County Public Schools has announced and will have a new superintendent next year, Dr. Jack Smith. He is currently, I don't know if he still has that position, but he was the acting state superintendent. Prior to that, he was the superintendent of schools in Calvert County, Maryland. And from the reports that I've gotten from folks who have met him, who know him, who have worked with him, it looks like a very positive choice for Montgomery County.
That's great, and he starts July 1st.
He starts July 1st, that is correct.
So what
And-
recommendations?
Oh, I
would
have
you
5.
Are you getting paid for this?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not
Consultant?
getting paid. This is no consulting. I'm a private citizen. My daughters aren't in the school system anymore, although I do have a daughter who works in the school system, but that's a whole other question. First one is to get out into the community. All this may sound basic, but it is very, very important that he make himself, I believe, visible in all kinds of different venues in the schools, in the community. And by that I mean maybe even going to the Purple Line hearing. I'm not saying they should, but those kind of things where he would be least expected to be a lot of times, I think is very, very important. So people get to know who this superintendent of schools, because remember, We have 156,000 students in the school system, and we are growing. We are not slowing down. And talking about all the issues of the commissions and rail lines, our school systems have to be strong. Community college as well as the public schools.
And everybody has an opinion about the schools.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I have an
He needs
opinion.
to hear
What
it
are
all.
they going to do for the Latino kids?
Second one goes with my, I don't want to call it a prejudice, that's a negative term, but get to know your principals.
Right.
Having been one, I think it's real important, even though the school system is very large, that the superintendent of schools knows his principals. And by that I mean not just at formal meetings, but once again, making school visits, random visits. I read a book once, Management by Wandering Around.
Well, I think you have a better idea of what you're
Abs-
managing if you actually see it in working and actually seeing the students
Absolutely.
with the teachers, not just the principals. I would imagine.
Absolutely.
And the third recommendation?
And the third recommendation is that these aren't in priority order, but the third recommendation is obviously to understand the rich diversity that we have in Montgomery County.
Absolutely.
I still think there are folks around the state and maybe even Montgomery County who don't realize how diverse we are.
Yeah.
My final year at Gaithersburg was 2000. I had students from 80 countries, that was 16 years ago, 80 countries and 40, at that time, 40 different language groups.
Yeah.
So we are, and wonderfully, our diversity is rich and it's powerful and which makes us strong. So, but what he has to attack, once again, maybe not the appropriate word, but I think it is the achievement gap.
Yeah.
And that's something that I know Montgomery College and different agencies are wrestling with, and have a firm plan and stick to that plan and talk to the community about it.
Right.
It's very important.
Right, for our children.
Yeah,
Right.
Four?
Absolutely. Oh, the fourth one. I forgot.
There's 5 recommendations.
He's
Oh,
trying to Rick.
that's
He's
right.
trying to Rick Perry.
Get to know the government officials, get to know the county council, get to know the school board, obviously, are going to be his supervisors.
Yeah.
Agencies such as Montgomery College, and really understand how you can work together with those different agencies. And fifth and final is listen, 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 and then make sound decisions in collaboration with all those different agencies. Sounds like a simple list, but it's one that I think is very important. I think where prior leaders have made mistakes is that they did not listen to the community, work with the community, be there with the community. That doesn't mean
I
you have to
wonder
agree with everything.
if you have any advice for the other part of the equation, that is the parents, the business community, other members of the community. What can we all do collectively and individually to help him have a good transition?
I think what the business, we have some great history here with working collaboratively with businesses, and I think he has to build on that. I'll just give one small example. Sorry.
30 seconds to give that
Okay,
example.
one small example. I had a wonderful tutoring program with scientists from NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. They came to our school every day and tutored kids. It didn't cost us anything. I bought them a sandwich occasionally. But that's maybe a simple program, but one that can be built on and that we need to share.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. And
Okay.
I hope he takes your advice. Welcome to
Hello.
the show. I'm excited about this new program or approach to the humanities that you've got going on. Tell us more about it.
Well, Dr. Pollard, president of Montgomery College, a few years ago said something very intriguing to most of us. She said, we need to be out in the community more. We need to turn the place inside out. So we have been trying to put together a humanities program that turns the college inside out, invites people in from the community, and also provides our students with amazing learning experiences. So we've been bringing in some really interesting people to talk with our students in the community and have a dialogue.
Kind of give them a real life feel.
Yeah, we had a wonderful afternoon with Ilaya Hopkins, who's Malcolm X's daughter.
Wow.
And so Vincent Tondi, one of my history professors, and Ms. Shabazz spent an hour and a half on the stage in the Cultural Arts Center. He interviewed her basically about what she remembered about her father and how his legacy is translated into the 21st century with race and ethnic relations. Our students got to talk to her a little bit. Afterwards, during a book signing, they asked her questions inside. We had 10 kids lined up at each microphone. It was an amazing experience. We had Dr. Terrence Roberts from the Little Rock Nine talking about his experience about what it was like to be one of 9 African American kids in the Little Rock High School
Integrating.
back in the 50s. And again, he was able to talk about how that makes a difference these days. He also had written a couple of books. We had a book signing. And when you give one of our students a book.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there's a website for the college that shows.
Yeah, you can find out everything that's going on in Montgomery College at a website called Inside MC, and that's all one word, montgomerycollege.edu. Don't say .com, it's .edu, that gets people lost.
Okay.
Or if you just Google Inside MC, you'll find it.
So are these classes, or are these more like forums, or?
These are tied closely to classes.
Okay.
Students get credit for going. The event itself becomes part of the assignments that the faculty members give.
Brad,
but these are things that happen outside of class.
Brad, I detect in your appearing under the title Humanities, a kind of a counterbalance to the emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which has taken over the University of Maryland. Is this a purposeful effort to balance that emphasis?
So at Montgomery College, each of the vice presidents and provosts on each campus has an academic unit associated with their portfolio as well. Mine happens to include the humanities and not the sciences. And then we also have the wonderful Cultural Arts Center. So I don't think there's anything deliberate about trying to balance out STEM in the humanities. It's just that we have a set of strengths for this particular program that we're trying to build on. There's room for everything at Montgomery College and at the university. Yep.
Excellent.
One of the underappreciated things about Montgomery County and the state of Maryland is the diversity that we have and the experts right here in our own backyard on a whole host of topics. So I would imagine that you're also drawing from the resources right in our own community.
Yeah, a gentleman named Dave Zirin lives in the area in Tacoma Park, is the sports columnist for the Nation magazine. And he's an expert on racism and sexism in sport. So we had him over into what I like to call my living room and let a bunch of students talk to him a couple of weeks ago.
And Montgomery County, just going back to the school piece, when I got here in 1970, to actually talk to people who had been in the segregated school system in Montgomery County, and some of them who were the leaders in integrating Montgomery County, and getting those folks on the stage.
They are here. Yes.
They are here, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, our good friend Anita Powell from the NAACP was in the audience for Ms. Shabazz's talk, so that was cool.
Well, so you were mentioning when we were talking earlier, there's a Cirque coming to Montgomery County?
Yeah, Cirque Zuma Zuma is coming on April 10th. There's 2 shows, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. This is the African version of Cirque du Soleil.
And is it open
Cool.
to everyone or just the students?
Everyone can buy a ticket. We give our students for this one a discount, but this is actually a show for the whole community.
You can buy them online, right?
You can buy them online at insidemc.montgomerycollege.edu.
EDU.
EDU.
It's a Montgomery College, whether it's the Tacoma Park campus, Germantown, or Rockville, it's such an asset for the community. Everybody really should find a way to take a course or attend some of these events or support students who are there.
Yeah, there's also a lot of really good humanities stuff going on at both Rockville and Germantown as well.
Right.
Even though they have brand new science facilities on both of those campuses, they're doing the humanities as well.
Go Humanities.
Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for joining me this week. And thank you for joining us at this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Mariana Cordier. Please join us next week at this time.